Yeah. Yeah. So the background towards segmentation, one will be the paging, second one will be the internal and external fragmentation, and third thing will be the another component called as a compaction. So these three key terms we have already discussed in our earlier discussion. So before we dig deep into a segmentation, we are going to call this segmentation as just a chunk or a piece of memory. It is going to be a chunk or a piece of memory which it is going to store some programs. It is going to store some programs, and these programs need not be contiguous. They can be some non-contiguous allocations. They can be some non-contiguous allocations. So here we can have this word called as a segmentation. So in this segmentation, we do have this item that it is going to be part of a memory management scheme, and it is going to support the user view of a memory. So how exactly a user view of memory is going to be there means I'm going to assume a user space, that is where a user can save his part of a program, and it can be in any region of a memory, it can be in any part of a memory. You had a good enough exposure in microprocessor. As far as microprocessor, you had an exposure with few words. One we call it as code segment, another we are going to call it as data segment, third we are going to call it as some stack segment, and fourth one we are going to have some extra segment. So these are all the basic contents when a user program need to be executed. These items, they are going to be spread from 64 KB of space, and thereby they are going to have a partition as a region in this program. So code, it is going to hold the code segment, code data, it is going to hold the data. It can be integer, float, character, boolean, whatever data structure it supports. The data structure, it is going to be supported by the data segment, and the program has to be executed with the CPU. So it needs a stack which works in last in first out order, and thereby it needs to store some pointers and index locations. So to hold the pointers and index locations which are going to be a part of an arrays, those we are going to be stored it into the extra segment locations. So for that we are going to use this symbol tables and arrays, etc. So stack, it is going to represent the stack segment, and the data structure which confines its scope only towards the segment, towards the region, we call it as a local variables. And if it is extended between the main program, and if it is going to be extended with its subprograms, then we are going to call them as some global variables. So we do have a main program here, and this main program, it can be partitioned into different sub components, and those sub components, they are going to be represented with functions, they are going to be represented with procedures. And if it is going to be an object oriented program, if it is going to be called it as an object oriented program with the, then we have some class, and class 2 have some instances of a class. We have objects, and thereby we access data members and member functions, and there we are going to have this approach called as a method stream. So all these components, a main program, a subprogram, all these are going to have some reserved location towards this, the data. So that is where the user space is going to get accustomed. So where a segmentation is going to be supported. Fine. So here you can have a glimpse of a segmentation. Here we do have the slide, which it is going to store up the glimpse of the segment here. So we can say there is a main program, and main program is going to call up some square root function. It is going to call up some subroutine function, and thereby it is going to have some stack, and to store some index, and to store some pointer values. we do have this symbol table here, right? So we have subprogram which it is going to be stored. I can say it is some procedure here. Then I'm going to have a square root which I'm going to call it as a function here, and I do have a main program. And to execute this the program, we are going to have the stack segment. So all these items, they are going to be stored up in the local, in the logical address space. So you are aware that the logical address space, they are going to be raised by the, or they are going to be generated. They are going to be generated by the CPU. So that was the intention of representing the user space of a segment. Okay, fine. So now we need some mapping mechanism. We need some mapping mechanism towards the address space which it is going to be raised up, towards the address space which it is going to be raised up with this user space and between the physical memory. So let us go back to the previous concept I was mentioning. I am going to have some memory management unit, and this memory management unit, it is going to have primary memory, and thereby this primary memory, it is going to generate the physical addresses, and here we do have some logical addresses. So now these logical addresses, they are going to be generated by the CPU. So this has to be converted. They have to be mapped right from physical address space to the logical address space. So how this mapping mechanism goes from physical addresses to the logical addresses will be with towards the way of segments, towards the way of a segment. Now you can see here the first segment. Every segment, now it is going to be represented with segment base register, and it is going to have a segment limit register. It is going to have a segment base register, and it does have segment limit register. Assume the program is going to start at A100 and it is going to end at A275. So now what this base address, what this base register is going to have means it is going to have the starting address of the segment. It is going to have the starting address of the segment, and this starting address, it is going to be represented as A100. Then what is the limit register poising of? So limit register, it is going to give the length of the segment. It is going to give up the length of the segment. So how much is the length of the segment? So I do have starting from 275 and will ending at 275 and starting at 100. So obviously 105 is 175. So now the limit register, it is going to put Y175. So the total segment is going to stretch up at A175. So the entire size of segment, the entire size of the segment is equals to some A175. So assume that I want to go to 100 location. Assume I want to assume that I do want to go at 150 location. Okay, so how do I get this 150 location? Means I'm going to expect 150 location, and I'm going to have the starting location. This one I'm going to call it as a base register, and the location what I'm going to identify 150. So how much I do get to reach to this 150? Then I'm going to add a value of 50. So what is this 50 called as? So this 50 I'm going to call it as a displacement, or I'm going to call it as an offset. So in order to gain a new address, how do I calculate getting a new address? Means I take up the starting address, then I check whether it is within the range of a limit register. If the address is within the limit register, yes, now I'm going to claim up my new address is going to be taken up. So what is this 50 considered? Means the 50 what we are going to add up, people are going to call it as a displacement, or it is going to be called as an effective address, nor it is going to be called as an offset. Fine. So now I was talking about how this logical address, or how this logical address is going to be taken up. So further we are going to use up these items called as some two-way declaration. So in this declaration, you can see the mnemonic how we are going to take up this segment address and how we are going to take up this offset. So the logical address, it is going to consist of two tuples. The first configuration will be the segment number, another configuration will be the segment offset. So just now we talked about segment 1, segment 2, 3, 4, etc. One we call it as some main program, another we call it as some square root function, another we are going to call it as some subroutine, and the fourth one we call it as a stack. Just now we have taken up in the previous slide. I will just scroll back here. So one we are going to have the main program, another we are going to have the square root procedure, another we do have this subroutine, and fourth one we are going to have a stack. So all these items, they are going to be in the user space, and from this user space they have to be mapped to the physical space. So in order to map these items to the physical space, now we are going to represent these items in form of a tuple here. So now how do we identify a segment table? So this was the challenge again. So how do we identify a segment table? So segment table is going to be identified with two entries. One we are going to call it as a base, another we are going to call it as a limit. So base, what it is going to contain? It is going to contain the starting physical address where a segment is going to reside. Then what is the content of a limit? So it is going to specify the length of a segment. Fine. Now, how we will distinguish the general base register and how we will distinguish the segment base register. So, if I am going to use a general base register, I am going to call it as BX in some way of notation. In another way, I am notating it as BR here. So, for that, I am going to use this word called as STBR. So, STBR, it is going to represent segment table base register. The next one, I'm going to represent the limit value. So how do I recognize, or how do I represent the limit value means? I'm going to take up the segment table length register, which I'm going to call here as STLR. It is going to indicate the number of segments it is going to have. So now I can say that the first segment, now I can drop here again. Move back here. So I am going to have the segment way of representation. So the segment way of representation, this is 0 segment, and next I do have first segment. Second I am going to have second, third I have the fourth. So in 0th I am going to have the main program. And first, I'm going to have the subfunction. I'm going to have the subfunction. After having this subfunction, then I'm going to have a procedure. Thereby, I am going to have this stack here. And finally, the symbol table, right? So now I'm going to represent a segment. So 0 is a segment which it is going to hold main memory. 1 is a segment, it is going to hold subfunction. 2 is a segment which it is going to hold a procedure. 3 is a segment which it is going to use stack. And 4 is a segment which it is going to hold symbol table, which it is nothing but some indexes, or it is going to be some pointer values. So all these are going to be part of a symbol table. Now you can have a clear glimpses of, so the segment limit. So I'm going to have segment table limit register. So what is the limit here? I'm going to have 5. So now I'm going to have the starting address. I'm going to have the starting address of segment. So what is the starting address of the segment? I do have this starting segment table base register. So that is, I'm going to call it as STBR. It is going to hold the base, that is nothing but the starting of the segment. So we are going to put it in STBR. So now you should have a glimpses of how we are going to represent the user and thereby how we are going to map these contents here. So segment table, it is going to be taking up this segment based register, and thereby it is going to contain the starting address of the physical address where the segment is going to reside. And next we do have a limit register which it is going to hold up the total length of the segment. So we are going to represent the segment with another protective primitive item, that is nothing but with the valid and invalid bits. So valid bit, and we are going to have it as an invalid bit. Valid bit and invalid bit. So for this we can use a representation of a 0, a bit which it is going to indicate it is a valid bit, and if the valid bit it is going to show up, then we are going to call it as an invalid bit. So when I am going to have a valid bit, that means data is in use. The read and write operation can be executed. So we can execute the set of privileges, and that segment is accessible to all. If such is a case and the data was genuine, so there is no the disk blocks what we are going to use doesn't have any ambiguity. So the data is protected extremely from external references. Then it is going to be indicated with the value v is equals to 0. Then v is equals to 0 indicates that the valid bit. That means the set of privileges we can pose, that is a read operation, write operation, can be activated. Similarly, if I am going to say it is an invalid bit, now the disk blocks are not going to be allocated to the memory. So it is still empty, and it is not, we cannot make any privileged operations such as read or write. So how are these protections? So giving the bit as valid, giving the bit as invalid, we are going to call them as some protection mechanism, and that protection mechanism, it is going to be associated with the segments. So just now we talked about the segment. So whatever code segment, data segment, stack segment, or symbol table, so what we are going to assume for that, the protection mechanism is going to be taken up. And again, how is this activated means whether it is going to be done at a static time or whether it is a compile time means, yeah, they are going to be executed at the runtime. As it is going to be runtime, now the allocation of these items, they are going to be called as a dynamic storage allocation. So dynamic storage allocation, because as they are going to be allocated at the runtime, so we are going to call here as a dynamic storage allocation. Now you can have this item segmentation hardware. In this segmentation hardware, how we do have the logical addresses. So logical addresses, they are going to be generated by the central processing unit, and then we are going to have a physical addresses. So physical addresses, they are going to be raised, or they are going to be generated with the memory unit in operating system. Now we need a mapping mechanism. Between the logical address and between the physical address. We need a mapping mechanism between the logical address, and we need a mapping mechanism between the physical address. So how is this mapping done? Means we need a mechanism which it is going to be verified towards a segmentation table. So every segment does have base and does have limit. So just now we talked the segment base register. It is going to be represented as segment table base register. Segment limit is going to be represented as segment table limit register. Got it? So we are going to represent the segments with a segment table base register, segment table limit register. So I will just take up one more diagram which will be helpful for you. So just give me a second. So yeah, this is the diagram what I'm expecting to learn to show you. So I can say I will bring this to the PPT so that you will not get any ambiguity. Yeah. Fine. So just now we were talking that every segment it is going to have a logical addresses that it is going to be raised by the CPU. Then we are going to have a physical addresses which is generated by the memory unit and which is in control of the operating system. Just now we were talking that a segment table is going to be raised, and that segment table it is going to have segment table base register, and it does have some segment table limit register, right? So now you can assume the physical address it is going to start at 1400 and it is going to end at 2400. Now what is 1400? 1400 is nothing but the base register, or I can say it is going to be the starting address. Then what is 2400? It is the end of a segment. But now what is limit holding? Limit is equals to 2400 minus starting address. Starting address is 400. So I am going to get this 1000. So that is how I am going to write up this 1000 here. Got it? So I am going to use a segment register as 0 and it is going to spread from 1400 to 2400. But limit register, I am going to write it as 1000. How I am going to get this limit register? Segment is going to start at 1400 and it is going to end at 2400. The distance between the starting value and the ending value we are going to take it up. That is 2400 minus 1400. We are going to get this value as 1000. So that 1000 we are going to rise it in the limit register. Similarly, let us take the segment 4. So now in segment 4, it is going to start at 4700. So base register is equals to some 4700. Then I am going to have the ending at 5700. I am going to have the ending at 5700. Now I am going to have another value as 1000. So this 1000 is going to be the range of the program. That is going to be called as a range of the program, the spread of a program. Now this 1000 we are going to write it up here, and this 1000 we are going to call it as a limit register. Got it? So now you can have a customer idea how a relation is going to be taken place with the segmentation table, and it is going to map the logical addresses with the physical addresses. Now ready? So subroutine is going to be called it as segment 0. Segment 1 is going to be called as square root. Segment 3 is going to be called as stack. Segment 4 is going to be called as symbol table. Segment 2 is going to be called as memory core, main memory. Now let us see what is segment value 0. So segment value 0 is nothing but we are going to call it as a subroutine. So subroutine it is going to start at 1400 and it is going to end at 2400. Next we are going to have stack, which is going to use this value as segment 3. What is segment 3? So segment 3 starting address is 2200 and it is going to end up at 4300. Now you can see the difference, it is going to be 1100. Now let us take segment 4. So segment 4 it is going to start at 4700 and end at 5700. So now the base register is going to be 4700 and it is going to be spread up to 4700. Now the total length is going to be 1000. Now let us look for segment 2. So in segment 2 you can see it is going to start up at 4300 and it is going to end up 4700. Now the total size, that is 4700 minus 4300, so 400. So this 400 we are going to give it to the limit register of segment 2. Similarly, it implies for segment 1. So segment 1, it is going to start at 6300 and end up at 6700. So it goes with 6300 and it ends up with 6700. Now the total length of a segment, the distance between the length of a segment, it is going to be up to 400 values. Now you have understood what is segment table base register. You have understood what is segment table limit register. So base it is going to hold up the total, the starting address, and now it is going to be pointed out as 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 0 it is going to occupy the subroutine, 1, it is going to hold up the square root. 2, it is going to hold up the main program. 3, it is going to hold up the stack. And 4, it is going to hold up the symbol table. So that is how a representation of the segment table is going to be given up. So after this segment table, we do have the way how a segment table is going to be represented. So now we can see how a segment table is going to be represented and how a segment table architecture is going to be taken up. So just now we were talking that segment table limit register, segment table base register. It is going to have 5 components, right? One, it is going to have main program. Another, it is going to have some sub-program. And third one, it is going to have the square root function. Fourth one, it is going to have some pointer table. It is going to have some pointer or index values. So these items, they are going to be represented here. Now, yes, it is going to start the segment starting address, that we are going to call it as some base address, and thereby we are going to have this D. D is nothing but the value which we are going to call it as displacement. D we are going to call the value called as a displacement. So I am going to repeat the same simple example for understanding. I am going to have a program which I am going to start at A100 and it is going to end at A275. Got it? So this I am going to call it as segment table base register. Now I have to calculate segment table limit register. How I am going to calculate? I am going to calculate this as A275 minus A100. So I'm going to get this memory location as 175. So what is the range? So the distance between the segment, I'm going to get this segment. The total size of the segment is going to be some 175. I will take up 2 conditions. I will take up case 1, then I will take up case 2. Okay. Now let us discuss case 1. Assume I want to go to a location called as A150. How I can get? I am going to use the segment starting address. This is called as segment base register. And next, I need to add displacement. What is the displacement value? I am going to get this value as 50. So D is a displacement, S is a segment table. Then I am going to get this item. So it is going to be in a range and it is mapped to the memory. I am going to call it as yes. Okay, let us take case 2. Assume I want to go to a location called as 200. So how can I get 200? I am going to use the segment starting register, segment table base register 150, then 100. Then I am going to add 100 to this. So D, this is called as S and this is called as D. So obviously I am going to get it as 200. 200 is not less than or equals to 175. Got it? Now this is the condition which is provoking. 200 is not less than or so obviously no is going to rise up. So an error is going to be taken up. So that error we are going to call it as some software interrupt, and the other name for a software interrupt we are going to call it as a trap. The other name for a software interrupt we are going to call it as a trap. So we take the 2 case studies. One case study was that the value was within a range and it is going to take up an address which is inside a segment. Second case study, we are going to generate an effective address, and that effective address I am going to take up a base register and adding the displacement value. If the displacement value was within the segment, it is going to give a good address which is available in physical memory. If the displacement was not in the range, then it is going to give an error. So I can say the second case, that is 200. That 200 is going to calculate the base register for displacement, but the displacement was the entire limit register size was 175 and you are asking for an address which is 200. 200 address is not available in the segment. Therefore, an error is going to come. So that error, we are going to call it as a software interrupt. That software interrupt, the other name, we are going to call it as trap. Okay, so this is all for today. So we have taken up the segmentation and segmentation. We were telling that code segment, stack segment, data segment, extra segment, etc. And segmentation, it is going to have some collection of programs. Those collection of programs are going to be represented with some segment-based register, and they are going to be represented with segment register, segment length register. So it is going to be taken as a segment table. So segment table contains segment-based register and segment limit register, and their mapping is between the CPU raised addresses, which we are going to call it as logical addresses, and they have to be mapped to the addresses which are raised by the main memory. So we say it is a physical address. So for that mapping mechanism, we call it as a segmentation table. And in that, an internal component called as segmentation hardware is there. So that segmentation hardware, it checks whether the address is in the segment or off the segment. If it is in the segment, okay, it maps the segment. If it is off the segment, then it says that that address doesn't belong to that segment and it raises an error. So that is all for today. Thank you for joining my class. So I'm going to now I have 128 students turned for today's class.